Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM News at 5 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
It's good to have you here. I'm Whitney Ward. We wanted to get straight to our forecast because after a bunch of snow yesterday, we are now seeing a drop in temperatures, a big one.
Yeah, it was bitterly cold this morning. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo with a look at our current conditions and what's still to come. Jeremy?
Well, it's more cold as we head through the next couple of days. The bitter cold sticks around and so does the wind. That means wind chill values near or below zero as we head through the next couple of mornings. And for us, that 10 to 25 degrees below zero wind chill means wind chill advisories. Those last through 10 a.m. on Friday. But to put this all in perspective, right now, we sit in the teens in eastern Washington and North Idaho, 20s out in central Washington. You factor in that east-northeasterly wind, and it feels like it's just 1 in Spokane. 1 in Deer Park, 1 below in Coeur d'Alene, and 3 below up in Sandpoint. Temperature is feeling quite a bit colder than they actually are. When it comes to things going on in the atmosphere, not much, and that's kind of where we stay. We're going to hang on to this light mix of clouds and sun. Mostly sunny is what we're going to call it the next couple of days, but those feels like temperatures stay below zero through tomorrow morning. 8 a.m. as all those kids are going to school. Yep, going to feel like it's about 15 degrees below zero, and then Friday we do that all again, less wind, but even colder temperatures is kind of the name of the game. By Friday afternoon, though, feels like temps climb back up to near 20 degrees. And the reason that's the case is because the wind dies down. But you want warmer temps? It's not just Friday afternoon under all that sun. It's as we head into the weekend. Southerly wind picks back up and our temperatures climb back into the mid-30s. So maybe not as warm as we were earlier this week, but mid-30s is going to feel quite balmy after this few days of cold.
We'll take any improvement we can get, Jeremy. Thank you very much. Well, tonight we are learning more about the multiple crashes in Post Falls this morning. Although I-90 was mostly cleared this morning, the on and off ramps in the Post Falls area remained severely icy. In fact, Idaho State Police had to temporarily close some of those ramps.
KREM 2's Amanda Rowley is joining us now live along I-90 in Post Falls. Amanda, what did you find out about this very messy morning commute in that area?
Well, Idaho State Police told me troopers started responding to multiple crashes at about 6 o'clock this morning. And those crashes all happened at the on and off ramps of I-90 in the Post Falls area. And that's because they were covered in a thick sheet of ice. In fact, this westbound on ramp behind me by Popeyes was one of the worst.
The morning commute on I-90 had mostly clear road conditions. But getting off and on the freeway had its challenges. Icy conditions on Post Falls on and off ramps kept Idaho State troopers busy. ISP says about 6 cars crashed or slid off the westbound on-ramp at exit 7 near Popeyes. Troopers set out flares and eventually had to close the on-ramp until it could be cleared and treated. At the eastbound off-ramp at exit 2 on Pleasant View, a few semis slid off the ramp. Some even had to put on chains just to move. Exit 5 had the same issue with thick ice on the ramps.
This storm was quite the doozy.
Megan Johns with the Idaho Transportation Department explained to me its crews saw storm conditions last night on I-90 in Post Falls they would typically see on the 4th of July pass, which means the storm created conditions that made it difficult for crews to keep up with.
So as a general rule of thumb, we spend most of our time on the lanes on the freeway and we get to the ramps when we can. And in this case, once you start to fall behind, it takes a lot more time and material to get caught up. And those ramps, unfortunately, was where we fell behind this morning.
Wind, snow, and temperatures are big factors in determining which products ITD crews use to treat the roads. Because the storm brought on several different severe elements back to back, it was a challenge to treat the ramps properly, even when crews could get to them.
Now, I also did a check on Spokane road treatments. City spokesperson Kirsten Davis says night crew shifts checked on all the roads last night, worked through the night, worked to treat those roads, and the day shift continued to maintain roads throughout the day today, and they are continuing to monitor those conditions. Reporting in Post Falls, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
Amanda, thank you. And also an important reminder, if you are driving tonight, this very cold weather can cause bridges to freeze faster than other roads. The National Weather Service says because there is no ground immediately underneath the bridge, that cold air surrounds it.
And some spots could certainly be worse than others, like parts of the roads that are shaded by trees or buildings. NWS says Slow down before heading over a bridge. Changing speeds while driving on ice is dangerous and can cause you to lose control.
And we will see these below freezing temperatures for the next several days.
And that means a threat of freezing pipes. So to make sure your pipes don't burst, set your sink faucet to a constant drip. You should also insulate the pipes outside your home, even if that means just wrapping a towel around them. And of course, covering your hose spigots. Plumbers say keeping your house warm is the best way to prevent frozen pipes.
If you're around, just make sure that your garage is staying shut. You're getting your garden hoses, taking off the hose bibs on the exterior of the home. If there's a well house or something, that there's heat inside of those. Another big thing, mobile homes, the skirting on the sides, you want to make sure that those are sealed really well and insulated and stuff like that.
Also, open up your cabinet doors in the kitchens and bathrooms to let that warm air in underneath the cabinets. If you do have plans to leave town, don't turn off the heat and keep the thermostat above 55 degrees.
Turning more to your hot top headlines tonight, Lake City High School in Coeur d'Alene was one of several Idaho schools in lockdown over a false report of a possible active shooter this morning.
KREM 2's Nathan Hyun is at Lake City High School right now. Nathan, what can you tell us?
Mark, Whitney, it was definitely quite a scene here earlier this morning as all units of the Coeur d'Alene Police Department were on hand for what turned out to be, well, a fake shooting call.
It was supposed to be a normal day for Avery Cherry and his friends.
Well, it's like 9:30, I think. I was just sitting in class, and then the alarm went off.
That was when police received a call of a possible active shooter at Lake City High School. The school was put in lockdown, and within 2 minutes, the first police units arrived on scene.
That's something that we try and train for and plan for. We don't ever want to be behind.
Jared Renault is proud of the police department's response.
I don't know that you can ever completely be ready for that type of an incident, but we definitely want to be trained for it.
Officers searched the school and found no threat. The school day returned to normal, but it was still scary for students and parents.
It was, I guess, like a sense of, oh my, this is real, but also at the same time, like, okay, they're here, like, it's gonna be fine.
The deputy superintendent for Coeur d'Alene Public Schools says they prepare for incidents just like today's.
Well, anytime that we have a threat, we want to consider it to be a credible threat. So we practice events just like this. And so this gave us an opportunity to make sure that the protocols that we have in place were followed.
Several other schools in Idaho received reports of a fake shooting around the same time. Idaho Superintendent of Public Instruction says that fake shooting calls leads to more fear in schools.
Well, it just heightens the fear that we have, and I can't think of anything worse to play around with than making a mockery of these very traumatic events.
Coeur d'Alene police believe the Lake City shooting call didn't even happen from the area.
And the Coeur d'Alene School District tells me that all other schools were put on a safety hold, simply meaning business as usual, but no one from the public allowed to enter. Live in Coeur d'Alene, Nathan Hyun, KREM 2 News.
All right, Nathan, thank you very much. The search for the bodies of 3 people caught in an avalanche has been suspended due to conditions on the mountain. The hikers were killed after an avalanche in the Cascades. A 4th person was hurt. It happened Sunday at Kolchak Peak, not far from Leavenworth.
Chelan County's Department of Emergency Management believes the group did not have an avalanche beacon. 3 other hikers with them were also rescued. All right, let's take a look at other news around the Northwest tonight. One of 2 suspects accused of attacking 4 Washington power stations is now asking for compassionate release from police custody. 40-year-old Jeremy Crahan wrote to court officials about issues receiving medical care. He says he's suffering from blood clots and is at a high risk for kidney and liver failure. The 2nd suspect charged in that December attack was released on bond already late last month.
There was another bump in the road for the Cortair Housing Development Project. The Coeur d'Alene City Council deferred their annexation vote once again at last night's council meeting.
So earlier this month, council members gave those developers of Cortair 2 weeks to address concerns that were brought up in public testimony. The developers then went back, changed some of their plans, and included a limit on how many homes can be built per acre. One city council member claimed holding a vote on the annexation last night, though, would be against the law. But the city attorney saw it differently.
They've completely changed the plan. They've changed the zoning. The zoning that was presented in planning, the zoning that was presented at our hearing 2 weeks ago. Idaho code states that if there is a material change, that there must be another hearing.
There's been no change in the evidence. There is a change in the development agreement, but that does not require a new public hearing.
Council members agreed to postpone the vote and hold yet another public hearing on Cortair. That hearing is expected to be at the end of March or the beginning of April. North Idaho College's bond rating has been downgraded. The downgrade was due to ongoing controversy with the school's administrative staff, and this means it'll be difficult for the school to build anything new, including student housing. This all the while the school still faces a loss of accreditation.